It is now 5:30 p.m.
Good evening, and welcome to everyone. How are you? How was last week? How was your weekend? How was today at work? I hope it was good. Welcome to all of our lovely listeners and viewers via FB and YouTube Live. I hope you have been doing well, and I hope you're ready because this is family time, and family time is about your issues and your relationships, your at home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to, you guessed it, healthy nations. So stay with us and please join in via all our platforms, FB and YouTube Live, and via Instagram. So I'm going to ask you, what's the difference between guilt and remorse? Are there any different types of either? Why do some people feel remorse and others indifference? What does it mean to be remorseful? What makes us feel either? Can we feel one without the other? Lots of questions. How does guilt affect us? Lots of questions, I tell you, issues to deal with, and these are only some of them, right? I'm as ready to find out as much as you are. But first, I want to know if you're willing to share a personal story of guilt and remorse. If you are, please, we'd like to hear from you. WhatsApp your text and voice notes, and make sure your voice notes are no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 FB and on YouTube. We'll be right back with our very special guest today, Andre Allen Casey. Don't go anywhere.
Keep fully connected with Flow Fiber Fast Internet at home and on the road with LTE data and calls for a fast, reliable experience anywhere. Over 500 communities have been upgraded since 2020, making more of Jamaica Flow Fiber Fast. And with Yard and Road, get Flow Fiber Faster Yard and LTE Road for as low as $3,999 plus GCT. Visit discoverflow.co to get connected on Jamaica's largest network. Conditions apply.
Bashko time. All the things that you need for your home at prices so low you would never need a loan at Bashko. At Bashko. Appliances, house with furniture and rugs, gifts and linens and glass and mugs at Bashko. You're shopping at Bashko. Whether the north or so in the east and the west, Bashko them all over. They must be the best at Bashko. At Bashko. You're shopping at Bashko. At Bashko. Giving you more.
Do you have a heart condition? Your care should be in the hands of our experienced cardiovascular team at Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica. We're one of the leading heart centers for angiogram, stenting, pacemakers, EP studies, and ablation therapy. PICJ has the expertise and latest technology to treat all your heart needs. Call 876-995-7425 or email info@pic-jm.com for appointments. PICJ, your partners for life.
Monkeypox is in Jamaica. If you are experiencing fever, intense headache, muscle aches, and/or rash on the skin, you must isolate immediately and call ahead to your health center or doctor before visiting. All members of the public should wear a mask, frequently wash hands, and practice physical distancing. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
For over 65 years, Berger Paints has been proud to be part of the one place that means the world to you, home. That's why we are giving away 6 paint makeovers. Purchase 2 gallons or more of select Berger paints at participating hardware stores or the color shop. Visit bridgerpaints.mobi or text your code to 876-596-4369 to enter. Visit BridgerPaintsCaribbean.com for details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Berger, for lasting beauty and protection.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101. Today's topic is guilt and remorse. And our special guest is Andre Allen Casey. But before we go to him, remember, we want to hear from you. Tell us your experience of guilt and remorse. We'd like to hear from you. Yes, you, the one listening and the one watching. WhatsApp your text and voice notes and make sure they're no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook and YouTube, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. Mr. Allen Casey is our special guest, and he's a regular voice on Love 101's To Have and to Hold, a motivational speaker, husband, and father. But we in Radioland know him more as a counseling psychologist. Sir Andre, how are you today?
I am doing well. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
I am hearing you loud and clear, sir.
I am doing very well. Thank you.
Awesome. Now, we're going to jump right into the meat of the matter because I realize that sometimes when we get up into stuff, it's so hard to complete everything in an hour. So, what is guilt and remorse, and are they related in any way, shape, or form?
Wonderful question. As far as guilt is concerned, guilt is described as a self-conscious emotion, which involves negative evaluations of the self, basically. Even negative evaluations as it relates to the kind of feelings that we may have associated with distress and feelings of failure. So once we feel distress, once we feel failure, and we have that negative evaluation of ourselves, then that is where guilt comes in.
Okay.
Now, and remorse now, which is strongly associated with guilt, of course, because it's like shoes and socks. They go together, or ice cream and cookie and ice cream. I don't know. Let me move on. But as far as remorseful is concerned, remorse really is a strong feeling of sadness. That's what it really speaks to. It's a strong feeling of sadness and regret about something wrong that you have done. So once you feel sad and you feel regret about something that you have done, then that is being remorseful. And that's the reason why it's a thin line between both of them. So while one speaks, both of them are emotions, but they definitely affect each other.
Okay, so where concerns guilt, though, are you saying that the better of the two is remorse versus to just feel guilty?
Yeah, can I tell you yes? Even if I didn't want to put it that way, but you're correct. Because regret about something wrong you have done, that is being remorseful, but it also can speak to being guilt, or guilt rather, or feeling guilt, I should state. Because again, but why it is kind of better, because at least one is guilt speaks to a negative evaluation of yourself. So you might feel bad about yourself, but you may not have the facts to feel bad about yourself. Okay. And that is reason, and that's why remorseful is a little bit better than guilt, because at least it is playing off the guilt that you feel. Remorse is playing off the guilt that you feel.
Okay, so I learned by examples, So I have to go give you an example. You're going to tell me if he's guilty, I feel guilty, or remorseful. So my husband left chicken, and his chicken in theme overnight food, and me decide to listen to me now, I'm hungry and I want it. If I take my husband's chicken and then feel bad about it, am I feeling guilty or remorseful?
Well, it is more so like if you may feel guilty, because again, as a result of the fact that do you feel a feeling of failure or distressed because of what you have done, or is the self-evaluation? And if the answer is a negative self-evaluation, if the answer is no, then chances are maybe you feel um, regret about what you have done, which then fall under remorseful.
Okay. All right. So that I understand. Cool. So we're looking at guilt is really when you're feeling negatively about yourself, be it unduly or duly. But remorseful is close to guilt, but not exactly. You regret what you have done, but the negative feelings are not there, or it does not perforate.
That's correct. So it's not
Okay.
necessarily negative feelings that is associated with remorseful. Remember,
Okay.
remorseful speaks to strong feeling of sadness and regret.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
what.
Awesome. I think that is clear. So, can we feel one without the other? Because you did say they're like shoes and socks and cookies and cream. So, can we really feel one without the other?
Yeah. Well, yes, but like I said, there's a thin line between both of them. It all depends on, I would say, the circumstances, and it also depends on the nature of the wrong that is done. And the reason why I say that, because remember now, remorseful, it can feel remorseful. That is where sadness and regret about something wrong that you have done. But you can also feel guilt in relation to something wrong that you have done. But again, the guilt that you feel, um, it may come with it as a result of a negative evaluation of yourself, or even a feeling of failure, or you may just feel distressed over what you have done. I don't know, to kind of answer your question. It is very difficult to separate both of them, because from circumstance to circumstances, um, um, that will define or regulate which one would necessitate which definition you would use.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're getting there. It started off cloudy, but it's getting a little clearer. Good. Are there any types of guilt? Are there categories of guilt or remorse for that matter?
Okay. Well, I don't know about remorse, because remorse is like I said, is just feelings of sadness and regret about something wrong you have done. That's just a very basic and standardized definition of the word remorseful. However, there are different types of guilt. It is believed that there are three different types of guilt that human beings experience. You have what is called reactive guilt. And so, to go back to your illustration about the eating the food,
Mhm.
if you feel bad about what you did, that would fall under reactive guilt, because reactive guilt occurs when a person commits an act that, after the fact, strikes them as being unkind, or it is having a negative impact on the person.
Okay.
So as a result of that, they feel guilty for what they have done. So you eat the food and you feel bad. That is called reactive guilt. Okay? All righty.
Yes.
Then you have what is called anticipatory guilt. And as the word suggests, literally, you are anticipating that you're going to feel bad. A matter of fact, you end up even saying sorry before you do it.
Oh, wow.
Seriously. So you say something like, you know, a matter of fact, I'm going to say something to you, but it might hurt you, or it may not hurt you. I'm not sure. I think it might hurt you, and I don't want you to feel bad about what I'm about to say. That is anticipatory guilt.
Wow.
Whether the person can feel bad, more correction. You are going to, you say, and because now that they feel bad, you then feel bad, because if they say no, yes, I feel bad about what they say, then you feel bad. So you anticipated that whatever you're going to say or do would have caused some hurt or pain to them, or distress, and so that is called the fact that they are distressed now. It means that you are experiencing anticipatory guilt, and so again, it speaks to something that you're going to commit, and or you're considering to commit, which may have a negative outcome. Anticipatory guilt. And then, of course, you have what is called existential guilt. Now, this one's a little bit tricky. because with existential guilt, a matter of fact, I'd even want to say existential guilt is the worst of them all,
Existential.
because existential guilt occurs when a person struggles with who they are. They struggle with what they are, and what is their correction. I better still, what is their place in the world. They do not even understand what is their purpose. And so, for example, an adult man may feel guilty about being a man. Why does he feel guilty about being a man? Because the statistics shows that men and women are that women are physically harmed by men every year, and so through this, well, let me say it this way: though this man have never harmed a woman, because he's a man, then him feel guilty.
Wow.
So that's called existential guilt. So him feel guilty because guess what happened? You know, a man might say, there's a common saying sometimes that we use here in Jamaica, and where men are likened onto an animal or a particular animal, right?
Yep.
And so as a result of that, um, you know, the man already feel guilty because he believes or he perceives that the woman think of him that way, that he cannot be trusted, and all of these things about him. So he even started to apologize for his own maleness because of how society stereotypes him. So that by and large speaks to this existential guilt. It's like you are being branded in a particular way that that puts you into a negative um, impression of society, and so therefore you're almost ashamed of your own maleness or masculinity. And so that is that and that, I know that is very wide, but that speaks by and large to existential guilt.
That last one really sounds very dangerous. By the way, do you find that young people tend to have this type of guilt?
Definitely. I mean, where they don't know if they're coming or they're going. Seriously, where they're living in other people's shadows, where person's opinion of them identify who they are. They do not have, they struggle with correction. Not do not have, they struggle with self-efficacy and emotional intelligence. Most definitely, um, young people are going through this, and I'm talking as early as 13 years old to as late as 40 years old.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
but I'm serious. Maybe I shouldn't go so much then. Let me carry it back down to about say 25, 28, 27. Yeah. I make no apologies to put it in that age group, in terms of young people. And because yes, they still don't know if they're coming or going, and they're just following the status quo, so to speak, and almost do not have a mind of their own. And this is why even if somebody call them an ugly name or a dirty name, that's the reason why they tend to react to it. Why are you reacting to it? Why are you reacting to it? Can you be associated with it? If the answer is no, then why are you reacting negatively to it? Chances are you're suffering from existential guilt, just to say.
Wow, that's a tough one. But don't worry, for all those who think that they're suffering from this type of guilt, later on, we're going to tell you how to deal with it. Now, Sir Andre, I've heard in songs this phrase, unashamed guilt. I've heard it in poetry as well. Is there any such thing?
Um, I guess to say, that is when you have reached a stage and a phase in your own life, as it relates to how you overcome that guilt. Because if you do not learn to overcome the guilt, then yes, both remorse is going to is going to continue to feed the guilt, or guilt can feed the remorse, and so you remain in a place of feeling ashamed. So I can understand the term and can appreciate the term, but I am suggesting that it only occurs after you would have learned how to overcome it.
To manage that guilty feeling. Wow. So tell us, why is it that some persons feel remorse and others have a I don't care attitude, it's your fault? Because you do have people like that, that no matter what they do, it is somebody else's fault, it is not mine, and I have no feelings of guilt towards anything that happened.
Well, well, for some folks, it is because they are not prepared to take responsibility for the wrong they have done. And so, as far as they are concerned, um, they may even have a personality disorder. That speaks to where they don't really care what people think or how they hurt other folks and such like. So the I don't care may stem from a personality disorder. I'm not going to necessarily name it, though I'm tempted to do the same. But at least two personality disorders, comes to mind. But again, I'm not going to go there because I don't want to sound like I'm labeling anyone.
Yeah.
But I'm also just saying here that the possibility exists that a personality disorder might be at the core as to why persons do not have any empathy, especially when they have been charged with doing something cruel to someone else.
Okay. All right. So you already mentioned that you don't want to tell us the type of personality disorders that is coming up that you're thinking of for persons who don't feel remorse. But what are those? So, and you had said that it really is when persons don't take on any kind of responsibility for something that has gone wrong. But I'm going to pose a situation where, suppose something goes wrong, and this tends to happen. Something goes horribly wrong, and there are two parties involved, and both parties cannot see where they have gone wrong, and so no one feels guilty about it. No one wants to apologize. What exactly how would you describe that kind of situation? Is it that both are suffering from the same kind of personality, or it is just that it's just the situation, they don't see it as something that they have done wrong, or what?
Okay, so this one's a little bit different from the first question. This one, um, I think the first question, how I understood it was to say that they don't care about what they have done. Hence, there's no guilt. That's how I understood it, and this is why I framed it that there may be a personality disorder at stake or at the core as to why they will not even care. Now, the other um, case that you have now shared, um, it could just be that um, the how persons listen to each other maybe is a factor, um, that they're on, as far as they are concerned, from their perspective, they do not believe that they have done wrong, and it's not that they're not open to listen or even to apologize. It's just that as the case is presented, and from their standpoint, they do not see why it is necessary for them to make an apology at that point in time, and so they're not. So pride might be at stake on with both persons, but at the same time, that might not even be the case. Again, as I've stated earlier, they heard, they listened, and they said, I understand your context, I understand where you're coming from, but I do not see where I was in the wrong at this point in time where this case is concerned. So and I'm not saying both persons are correct, but maybe you need a third person to give a different perspective now. But as far as they are concerned, looking from their own perspective, they are prepared to more defend their positions rather than saying, rather than accepting that they may be in the wrong in this case.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And we're going to be focusing now on the worst of the three guilts. That's an interesting phrase. The worst of the three guilts. Um, and I want you to tell me if there are any signs that you're suffering from existential guilt.
Well, I would want to say that I'm not going to call it, I'm not going to say only existential guilt.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
in all three of them, there are some common signs that cumulatively now. So I'm not just saying because you have anxiety, it means that you're suffering from guilt. But cumulatively, um, there is a strong correlation that guilt is at the core why you are having um, um, these associated symptoms.
Okay.
So what are they? Anxiety, um, ruminating, and I will explain what I mean by that. Insomnia, crying, upset stomach, muscle tension, regret, and worry. I am saying that all of these cumulatively are can be associated with the fact that you are these are symptoms of guilt that you are suffering from. And so we say whether it be anticipatory or what's or existential guilt or
Or
even
reactive
or
guilt.
guilt. I am saying these are the attending symptoms that can be associated with guilt. I'm not saying definitively, I say can be associated with guilt and even cumulatively. Ruminating is where you can't seem to let go of thinking about how you have done wrong in this situation, and by and large, even punishing yourself because of what you have done. So even when the person said, "It's okay, you don't have to. It's okay. I'm not upset with you," they just can't seem to let go of that. By the way, I'm sorry to say this, but that again may fall under existential guilt. But again, to be fair to the word guilt, I'm just saying here these are the words, these are the terms, these are the symptoms that can be associated with guilt on a whole, be it reactive, anticipatory, or existential.
Okay, so before we jump into anything more, I'm going to go on a break now. But remember, we want to hear from you. So tell us about any experiences that you've had with either guilt or remorse. We want to hear from you. We're looking forward to your responses. WhatsApp text and voice notes no longer 30 seconds to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook and YouTube, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. And just so you know, the numbers for the FLM head office in Kingston are 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. When we get back, Andre Allen Casey will still be here. So you don't go anywhere.
Maximize the summer with First Global Bank.
Maxi for millions with your credit card from FGB.
Use your FGB credit card between now and August 31st to be one of 8 lucky winners to win a share of $2 million in the Max It for Millions promotion. First prize $1 million, second prize $500,000, third prize $250,000, and the 5 prizes of $50,000. Don't have a FGB credit card? Apply on the GK1 app and get 5,000 bonus points. Visit firstglobalbank.com for details.
Maxi for millions.
Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. FGB, your commercial bank from Grace Kennedy.
Faith Temple Pentecostal Assemblies invites you to Convention 2022 from Sunday, July 17 to Friday, July 22, 2022 at 9 to 15 Phillip Road, Kingston 11. Join us to worship on Sunday, July 17 via Zoom or in the sanctuary at 11 a.m. Day's session, Monday to Friday, will be via Zoom at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Evangelistic service will be 7 p.m. nightly via Zoom or in the sanctuary. Come with your praise. A blessing awaits you.
Love 101 presents Facts on Monkeypox. The monkeypox virus comes from the same family of viruses as smallpox, but it is not related to chickenpox. Common symptoms of monkeypox are fever, headache, muscle aches, and swollen lymph nodes. Monkeypox also causes a rash that looks like raised bumps on the skin. The virus typically spreads through bodily fluids or by touching the rash of someone who has monkeypox. Animals can also pass the virus to humans either by being scratched or bitten by the animal or by preparing, eating meat, or using products from an infected animal. That was Facts on Monkeypox, presented by Love 101 FM.
Need to pass your CSEC CAPE exams to get that dream job or to qualify for university? Then Distinction College is the school for you. We have locations in Kingston, Spanish Town, St. Elizabeth, and Ocho Rios. Start day, evening, and Saturday classes this coming term and sit CSEC CAPE exams for January's resit or May, June. Maths, law, science, English. We have the lowest school fees. Register before the end of the month and win an entire term free. Call us at 354-8560.
NHF is here for you. Getting that discount on my daughter's medication is a relief. The NHF card makes it so affordable that she doesn't miss a dose. Whenever my parents visit a public hospital, I can fill their prescription at drugstore pharmacies at no extra cost. Not to mention, renovating and building new health centers, hospital wards, and providing new medical equipment. The NHF is always helping to take care of my family. The NHF is here for health. The NHF is here for you.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for staying with me. My guest today is Mr. Andre Allen Casey, and I want you to share. Are you willing to share a personal story of guilt and remorse? We want to hear from you. So, Sir Andre, I want you to tell me, is there a difference between an overactive conscience and guilt, or are they one and the same? Because I've heard that persons are saying, oh, you just have an overactive conscience, you do something wrong and then all of a sudden you feel so bad about it, any little thing, you feel so bad. Is that really guilt, or is that just an overactive conscience?
Well, even if it's an overactive conscience, remember that overactive conscience is evoking a particular emotion. And once, so it is more the emotion that we're talking about, irrespective of what is contributing to that emotion. So remember, in our definition of guilt, we are saying that it is the impression that you have about yourself, as far as the negative feelings you have. You might even feel like somebody might accuse you of being overly sensitive too, and that you don't need it to be reacting this way and what have you. But whatever persons want to, I'm going to use this term, use to gaslight you. whatever, because once people is trying to tell you how to feel, then chances are that might fall under the ambit of gaslighting. And so I'm kind of saying here, so that, if you feel guilty, then we want to give you steps on how to overcome that guilt, and don't get distracted by person trying to either minimize your guilt or increase it, for that matter. So we want to empower you to talk to you about how to forgive yourself, how to move on from this feeling of guilt and remorse, for that matter.
And before we actually get on to overcoming, how we can overcome, can they actually serve a good purpose, a positive purpose? Like, I don't know, to help you reflect on yourself, or to at least to see if you really need help, by the very least?
Well, definitely, because and this is where it becomes a little bit tricky, because and that's why we have to be very, very careful that we understand that it is very personal as far as the guilt is concerned. And why I say that, because different persons might have what's the word I'm looking for now, different, not only experiences but reference points, what their own value system look like, that will govern how they think and their interpersonal relationships. Different persons have all of these things affect persons from person to person. Yes. And so you see, so a person might have their own idiosyncrasies, and as a result of that, feel guilty when they ought not to. But it's their idiosyncrasies and it's their guilt that they're having. And so we need to help them now to overcome that guilt rather than saying to them, you're too sensitive or you have an overactive imagination or you're too this or you're too that. And there's no need for you to feel this way. I don't know what is wrong with you. And almost I put them down and I quarrel with them because of their guilt, you know. And so that's the reason why I'm just saying that is in a very unique way. It can be very, very personal because different persons have their own different terms of references that in relation to how they interpret a particular situation or interpret an action towards them.
Okay, understood. Now, in terms of overcoming the guilt and the remorse, so we understand that persons want to, what was the term you used? Guess what?
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
Maybe we should do a show on that for true too. Seriously.
We probably should. So persons may want to be gaslighting you. I don't know if I'm using it correctly, but how can you overcome that? Overcome guilt and remorse? Because you do have people who intentionally try to make you feel guilty for whatever reason or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, now I must admit, this list that I'm about to share, I have about 9 different things. I don't know if we can cover all of them, but this list that I want to share, it is my list. If you go on the internet, you're going to see a different list and everything, and you're going to ask everything. But this is uniquely Andre Allen Cases. Okay.
So copyrighted by Andre Allen Cases.
Definitely. But not only that, you don't have to agree with it. That's what I'm saying. All righty. So let me get straight into it. The first thing I want to suggest in helping us to move past guilt, or again to use this word, or even help to forgive ourselves, irrespective of what is causing the guilt, the first thing I want to say is don't get mad. That's the first thing. Don't get mad. In other words, don't blame or try to justify or try to rationalize the situation so as to make you become further victimized. Okay. To become what? Because you feel bad already enough, you know. But you don't want to drop into the hole further. Okay. You're already feel like you're drowned. You don't even go to the bottom of the water now. So the first thing you must not do, don't lose it. That's what I mean by don't get mad. Don't. You feel guilt. Your objective now is to how am I going to move past this feeling that I'm having. That's the objective. Because if you let it stay, then you can go sink further and further and further. And then you're at a very vulnerable position in your life now. You don't even know what you're doing or what you want to do or don't want to do. As a matter of fact, I put it to you, it may mushroom or matriculate into existential guilt.
There you go.
So this is why it is important that the first thing you do, don't try to rationalize or justify or anything in the situation that would what further victimize you. Okay. If you plan on asking for forgiveness, don't make excuses. Do not get into the habit of explaining also why you did it. Don't do that. That's a part of rationalizing. So if you're going to go to the person because you feel guilty already, so you want to go to the person and say, can you please forgive me? But don't go now and say, please forgive me, but you have to understand why I did it. No, don't do that, please. Because the person is going to say, I beg your pardon. And so now, they're not going to forgive you, and you're going to even feel worse. So all I'm saying, to help yourself not to go deeper, if you're going to ask for forgiveness, do not come with any excuses as to why you did the wrong. Just, could you please forgive me, please? That's
and the just first. Leave it at that. Just leave it at that.
Next thing now, I'm saying you must feel badly. Yeah, because that's part of the guilt. I don't want you to I want you to feel badly so that you can have the appropriate response to it.
Okay.
So I don't want you to hurt yourself. Okay. I don't want you to go any deeper, but I want you to have the appropriate response to the feeling that you're having here and now. So I don't want you to increase the negative feeling, or the remorse that you're experiencing. Don't want you to increase it, but at the same time, I do not want you to make it become superficial. As if to say you really don't feel that way. When in truth and in fact you really feel that way. So therefore, what am I saying? When somebody says, how are you doing? Don't say, I'm okay. When you really feel bad. I say, so I'm okay. I'm doing better. I'm okay. No. You don't feel bad. You're not okay. You still feel bad about what happened. So I'm just saying, it's better to say, listen, I am working through my emotions to ensure that I'm in a better place.
Yes.
That's a better statement than to say I'm okay when in truth and in fact you're still dead. To the point that when you see the person, you want the guilt alone. You all hide because I don't want to see them because guilt, as the saying go, guilt will kill you. As the saying goes, right? The next one is, and hear this one now. No, you're not gonna agree with me. Don't look for sympathy.
Don't look for sympathy. Are you kidding, Sir Andre? We mean I'm not supposed to look for sympathy. I want people to back me.
Pat you on the shoulder, not true. What? So let me explain myself before I get myself in any problem. Be open to take it, but don't plan on depending on it.
Oh.
That's what I mean by that. Be open to say, hey, don't worry. If somebody's going to come to you and say, don't worry about it, man. Hey, I forgive you. Just let it go. Let us move forward. Let us move on. Water off a duck's back, whatever. Just to help you to move and so that you don't feel guilt and remorse. I'm saying, thank you. You're going to welcome that. But I'm saying if you don't get it, don't let it stop you from recovering. That's what I mean. So that's what I mean. When I said don't look for it, what do I mean then? I said don't be open to take it, but don't plan and depend on it. Sometimes we depend on being forgiven in order to forgive ourselves.
Yes.
That's the problem. And I'm saying, what if we are not forgiven? Should we then remain in despair and be broken? My argument is forgiving me should not depend on you. You can write that down. Forgiving me should not depend on you. Sometimes we can't, we stifle ourselves or drown ourselves in guilt because we are looking for somebody to say, I forgive you. Suppose that person is just mean. Yes, you may have done them wrong, and they're going to keep on fling it in your face for the rest of your life. They now control your happiness, your sadness, and your pain. Forgiving me should not depend on you. What's my next one?
Two words.
My next one is, and watch me with the time, but my next one is correct your downfall or live with it. Audra?
Yes.
I hope I pronounced your name properly. I am saying the next point is what? Correct your downfall or live with it. Or live with it. Every effort must be made to right our wrongs or make adjustments to ensure that we do not make the same mistake the second time around. Say that again, Andre. I don't remember what I said a while ago, but let me try it. I'm saying here that every effort must be made to right our wrongs or to make adjustments, to ensure that we do not make the same mistake again. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, there are some choices that brings with it lasting consequences. And so the sooner we accept it, the less we will live the rest of our lives in regret of it. True. The sooner we accept it, the sooner we say, well, something, I did this, I shouldn't have done this, these are the consequences. But then it makes sense. Every day I get up, I talk about the negative the consequences. When the consequences is not going to stop, the consequences is going to be with me for the rest of my life. If you find yourself in jail because of something that you have done, you can get up every day in a jail and say, "Boy, look over there in a jail. Boy, look over there in a jail." I just say, "Hey, somebody in a jail," I know so 10 years I'm going to spend in jail. All right.
You just move on.
And you move on in a jail.
But Sir Andre, so tell me now, and you do have these instances. I'm hoping they're not so very prevalent, but you do have, for example, a parent that somehow their child died, their son or their daughter, and they have taken on the responsibility to say it is my fault. So for example, the child, they should have been watching the child, they weren't watching the child ran out in the road, got hit by a car, and the child died. You're telling me, or you're telling that parent that, listen, you need to accept what has happened, accept whatever responsibility you have with the whole thing, and move on. Is that what you're saying? They shouldn't live their lives every year on the child's birthday. They just remember and they feel guilty and they feel bad and they feel sad till it reach depression and everything else. Is that what? Tell us what you're saying, Sir Andre.
I am saying that what is the alternative if you do not overcome your guilt? That is my question to you. I am not saying it's an easy road and you have to get over it tomorrow or next year or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying, what is the alternative if you do not strive to overcome your guilt? That's all I'm asking. And so you must decide whether or not to say this painful experience is worth it.
Yeah.
If it's something you think you want to live with and whatever, then that is a choice. If for you think that's the best way for you to manage your life and manage your living, well, I'm saying that is the decision that you would have to make. It's not, that is the decision that you would have to make. And I'm not judging you one way or the other. I am, however, saying if our understanding of what guilt speaks to and the negative symptoms that comes along with guilt, do you want to rid yourself of these things? If your answer is yes, then we are purporting some suggestions that could help to not only alleviate your issue, but help you to cope going forward. That's what I'm
this
saying.
is where we have to jump in for our final break. But don't worry, we're coming back. This is Family Time, live on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and FB. It's produced by Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we want you to tell us. Tell us of an experience that you've had with guilt and remorse. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know via WhatsApp, text, and voice notes, no longer than 30 seconds, to 876-997-3125 on the Love 101 Facebook page, the Love 101 YouTube channel, or you can call the studio lines at 876-968-83278 to participate. We're also on FB and YouTube Live. We want to hear from you. Don't go away. This evening, we're talking about guilt and remorse. So, listen up.
Is here for you. Getting that discount on my daughter's medication is a relief. The NHF card makes it so affordable that she doesn't miss a dose. Whenever my parents visit a public hospital, I can fill their prescription at drugstore pharmacies at no extra cost. Not to mention, renovating and building new health centers, hospital wards, and providing new medical equipment. The NHF is always helping to take care of my family. The NHF is here for health. The NHF is here for you.
The world is changing and so should you. Diversify your career and get local and international certification in 2 to 6 months at Distinction College. Start online and face-to-face class in medical assistant, medical lab tech, pediatrics and psychiatric nursing, ECG tech, home attendant, hairdressing, makeup, meal tech, call center, supervisory and events planning management, cashiering, media broadcasting, and travel tourism. Register this week and get free subjects and free courses. No subjects required, no age limits. Visit us in Kingston, Spanish Town, Outaris, and St. Elizabeth. Call us at 876-356-4167.
Colgate Triple Action. 3 benefits for a deep clean. As a mother, you always want to give the best to your family and to make them happy. With Colgate Triple Action, you give them 3 reasons to smile. Cavity protection, whiter teeth, and fresh breath. A unique formula with a minty flavor they will love. Colgate Triple Action. Find it at your favorite store.
Importers. Shipments requiring you to pay customs duties and taxes are cleared on a customs goods declaration, known as an IM4 or IMS4. Ask your clearing agent to provide your customs declaration, customs assessment notice, and customs receipt once duties and taxes are paid. Where your clearing agent may not be able to provide the IM4 or IMS4, request your customs goods declaration registration number or C number, which can be used to verify your payments. Importers, request your IM4, IMS4, or C number. It is your right. For details, email the Jamaica Customs Agency at public.relations@jca.gov.jm. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Welcome back to Family Time. The time is now 6:20 p.m. and I'd like to take this opportunity to big up Angela Hackett and Alvin Ellison. They are tuned in on our FB page and we want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced guilt and remorse? Please share it with us. You are tuned to Love 101 and this of course is Family Time and it's brought to you by Family Life Ministries. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Listen out for our numbers in Kingston and Portmore at the end of this program. Remember, we're FB and YouTube live. So tune into the program via the Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. The topic today is guilt and remorse with Andre Allen Casey. He's a motivational speaker, husband and father, but many of us know him more as a counseling psychologist and a regular voice on Love 101's To Have and to Hold. So, Sir Andre, we were into the 9 tips for overcoming guilt and remorse. What number were we at again?
I don't even know, but I can't give it this one. Not too far. But
okay.
Audra, before I go on, can I just quickly just say hello to Norma Brown? I know she's supposed to be listening. And so I think she's probably the first time on this program.
Oh,
and
wow.
So welcome her. Norma Brown. Okay.
Welcome, Norma.
That being said, I'm saying don't lie to yourself. Next tip, don't lie to yourself. And what do I mean by that? Don't rationalize your wrongdoing. Take responsibility for what you did and accept the consequences. I might kind of said something like that before, but let me just continue this way. It is a lot more difficult to forgive yourself if you are not being honest with where you went wrong or what you did wrong. Just to say. And so that being said, however, don't tell a lie on yourself. So I'm saying don't lie to yourself, but also don't what? Tell a lie on yourself. And therefore set you further than where you should be. So don't tell a lie on yourself. And also don't make people tell a lie on you.
Balance.
Yeah, man. And because the idea is for you to overcome it, not for you to further burden yourself with guilt and remorse. That's all I'm saying. So don't lie to yourself and say, well, I'm not so bad after all, and this is not so bad after all, and maybe we shouldn't feel so bad after all. I'm not asking you to rationalize it. What I'm saying, though, to accept that, yes, this is where things are. This is what I did. This is the mistake I have made. Yes. I'm prepared to deal with the consequences. But at the same time, I'm saying what? Don't tell a lie on yourself. Don't make it worse than what it's supposed to be or is.
So if it is that you're finding difficulty with striking a balance, right? You want to be fair to yourself and fair to the situation. If you're having an issue, is it okay to ask somebody to kind of help you gain perspective or to gain like an objective perspective on the issue or the situation where you're
definitely easy answer to that, definitely. Okay. But ensure that it's not somebody that is afraid to tell you the truth. One, and number two, you must be open to ask. Don't go ask them opinion, and when them tell you, you're vexed. I am saying somebody that is supposed to be objective. I don't know what my time look like, so let me hurry up and go to my next point here.
You have 5 minutes.
All right, let me hurry up here. Silence your critics. You want to manage your guilt, overcome your guilt, forgive yourself going forward, silence your critics. There are some folks that unfortunately will not let up on what you did. And so they will make it their lifelong journey to remind you and others of your indiscretion or indiscretions. I am saying don't become their opinions. Write that down, Andre Allen Casey. Don't become what? Their opinions. Don't become their opinions or even allow them to make you resentful and bitter. Don't do that. I'm saying put into action your ability to do, then stamp on yourself approved. Stamp on yourself what? Approved. Yeah, that's how you're going forward. You say no one hear from them anymore. Them gonna come they're coming to say, hey, me never like but you. I can't believe you did this to me. How much time you tell me that now? It's all right, man. Me stamp on myself approve already. Even if you want to give me disapprove.
Amen.
Next point. Hush yourself. Hush yourself, man. Take yourself up on the ground. Lift yourself up. Don't just give yourself a chance to heal. I'm saying plan on healing. And don't take too long to do it either.
As quickly as is possible.
As quickly as possible. Your daily goal is to relieve yourself of pain and not waiting for the pain to leave you. That's your daily goal. You're not waiting for the pain to leave you. Pick up yourself, and look into the mirror and compliment yourself literally on a daily basis. And then maybe my final one here. Talk to yourself. Talk to yourself by asking yourself some questions. Um, do I want to feel this way again? That is a question you want to ask yourself. Do I want to subject myself to feeling defeated? Do I want to subject myself to feeling down? Do I want to subject myself? I'm going to allow other people to embarrass me. These are some questions that you must do.
Questions to ask.
Yes, and then make a commitment that to the best of your abilities, this will never happen to you again. And finally, I'm saying here, treat yourself. Yeah, man, treat yourself because you don't believe that you are a new you with your stamp of approval. And the lesson learned, a new you will emerge. And I'm saying here, so let this new person thrive, recognizing that they have a responsibility to see themselves taking care of themselves. How? Emotionally, spiritually, and physically.
Awesome. So for all of those who have had their issues, for the parents who, your child has died and you consider it your fault, for the teen or the young person who had a child when they were in church and they weren't married, for all those who were in church and you left the church and you want to come back and guilt is riding you, listen. You don't have to live your life like this. It's okay for you not to feel guilty anymore. It is okay. And in 30 seconds, Sir Andre, I want you to tell me, when is it necessary for you to get professional help? 30 seconds.
When you can't shake it. When you find that everything we do right here, sir, and you try to do it, you can't shake it, but you know that in your heart, mind, soul, and body, it is, you want to, because it is interfering with how you live. A matter of fact, it feels like an imprisonment.
Wow.
That's when you need to come in and see us.
And everybody should know what that feels like. That's not a nice feeling at all. So thank you, Sir Andre. Thanks for being with us. Listeners, viewers, thank you. If you have questions of a personal nature or are concerned about a friend or family member, call us at Family Life Ministries. For our center in Portmore at 117 Cecil Avenue, call 876-939-7917. For more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. Note that appointments can only be made by calling the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. Before we leave you, here is this evening's Bible verse, 2 Corinthians 7:10. For godly grief produces a repentance that leads to salvation without regret, whereas worldly grief produces death. Join us again next week at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM, FB and YouTube Live via the Love 101 Facebook page and Love 101 YouTube channel for another informative program. Thanks again to our special guest, Andre Allen Casey. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Open Door Communications, studio facilitator, Timoy Butler, and of course, you, on behalf of myself, Audra Williams. Stay blessed. Be blessed. God bless you. Bye.